Welcome to Nollywood Radio France. I'm your host, Cyprian Josson. My guest today is Rebecca Monyei. Introduce yourself to the listeners. They know you as a blogger. I think for those who don't know you, this is a name that sounds around the industry, Rebecca Monyei. But just give us your name again. Introduce yourself, what you do, and where you live in the world. Yeah.
Absolutely. My name is Rebecca Monyei. I am a blogger and a film distributor for the Nollywood entertainment industry. And as you can hear me and Cyprian talking, I am also a scriptwriter. And I live in Houston, Texas, which is in the United States of America. One of the reasons why I love the fact that Spreaker is on the radio, because our listeners are able to really stir up their feelings towards the entire story. Like in Nollywood movies, you hear or you see that the movie rushes pretty much through the entire scene, and they leave out some key scenes in between that really fattens up the entire story. And I wanted to make sure that with Sacred Affair, all those things are in place. The listener or the viewers are able to follow the story from beginning to end, build a relationship with the characters, so when something tragic or something important happens within the film, they're right there with them.
And when you're writing this for radio, what's always on your mind when you're writing? Because you're writing for radio and you're writing also for cinema. I mean a Secret Affair. So what's on your mind when you're writing?
Well, for the radio, I think the radio is probably one of the most awesome tools available out there for the listener to imagine. We, in our mind, imagine what the plot is. We see the plot in our mind. My visualization of who Yemi is, or my visualization of who Chika is, or even Didi, is based on the characters that I experience in real life. So I already have, my mind has this unconscious formulation of who I think Chika is, or who I think Yemi is, therefore draws me closer to the character. So for radio, when I write, I want that visualization to be real. I still want them to connect the characters, but I also want them to be able to experience that scene as it's happening. So I use mostly picture scenes, picture type environments. She's in the tub, the water is running. I want you to imagine Chika in the tub, naked, with the water running. I want you to imagine Yemi sitting at the end of the tub by her feet. I want you to imagine the type of emotion that's going on between both characters. Why does Chika still have the boldness to talk to Yemi the way she's talking to him when she's born and bred in Nigeria? She's a Nigerian. That type of personality, that type of interaction is not common in Nigeria. But there is a reason. Yemi has crossed that line. And you can't help but wonder, like when I was writing that scene, I couldn't help but wonder that, could it be that Yemi is acting the way he is because he realizes that Chika is now bold enough to want to break up with him? Is he afraid of that loss? Is that what's really causing him to make a decision whether or not he loves Chika? Do you see what I mean? Is that what's making him to want her even more because she's just fed up enough to let him go? Back in the day, she's like, oh, my baby, my baby, my baby. But now she's like, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord squishes, So, like, that idea is what I also wanted to incorporate into that scene.
So if I should summarize what you're saying here, you're telling us that radio is the theater of the mind. Is that okay?
It is. Absolutely. You're correct. Mm-hmm. It really is the theater of the mind, and I hope that as we play this part, as we put this on the air, that our audience is able to absorb that. They're able to see the story that we're trying to tell, to where when it actually comes on screen, they're able to easily connect the dots. What I want is a following of fans that already understand the story, already is familiar with what we're trying to say, experience it on a regular basis in their own personal lives as well, and be able to connect that dot on screen and maybe even choose their favorite characters. So,
okay. What type of playwright are you?
Great question. I would say I lean more towards creativity. I'm a very, my mind, I shy away from the rules and regulations of writing. There is a specific format you're supposed to go by when you're writing a script, and I try to follow that as much as I can. But I can't help myself. When that opportunity arises to really just change things around, and I know that when I'm getting bored, when I'm getting bored, I know something is not right. I have to change it. There has to be some type of fire going on somewhere. Something has to happen to really wake that emotion back up, or even just germinate my mind. Encourage my mind, or enliven my spirit to continue to write the script. So I would say more of a creative writer than anything.
And you're also a singer, because Secret Affair, this play, the song was composed by you. Yeah. So can you tell us also about your singing activities? You talked about singing in the church, or are you also trying to be a professional singer as you're doing in writing?
Yes. That actually I do. I wouldn't say I don't dabble into music. I do dabble into it. Deep down in my heart, I think they pretty much connect, with playwriting or script writing or movies. Without music, you can't really tell the story well. You can't really get that emotion out of the audience. In that respect, I would say I am a musician. Do I have songs that I've written that I want to put out there and produce? Yes, I do. I have written, I would say, about over 100 poems that could easily be turned into songs. I do have some songs that are already completed, and I'm working on them, and I would like to include them in this Secret Affair movie when I actually shoot it, which hopefully will be sometime in the summer. So I would say definitely I am a musician, and I am working on the music aspect of my career as well.
You said over 100 poems you've written. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now,
yes.
Can you just, if you can, I don't know, just give us one that has something to do with love? You see, that's because Secret Affair is all about love story. So, which one can you recite for us in this conversation?
In this conversation, well, I would say a line that I included in the script, and it's actually a line between Didi and Chica.
Okay.
And in that line, it says, someone once told me that love is like seeing the face of God. Nowhere did he include agony, pain, suffering, and frustration. That is one of my lines.
Yeah.
In my
yeah, but that's these lines is quite different from what we're seeing when we're listening to on radio, when we're listening to Secret Affair, because in Secret Affair there, it's all about love, we know, but
Right.
we see that it's a difficult way to look at the word love. They are
Right.
cheating, they are betraying each other, they are lying. So is that what you call love?
I think love to me is more of a real life expression. It's like I would use this example not in a negative way, but in an absolutely positive way. So, Cyprian, I want you to take this in a very positive way.
Okay.
I would liken love to the religion of Islam. I'm not a Muslim.
Yeah, okay.
But Islam is a way of life for the Muslims. It's not just a religion. They live it, they breathe it, they do everything with it. They surround and encompass themselves around that idea. That is how I see love. I feel like love should not only be an expression, you should live it. Between Chika and Yemi, I think Yemi has been such a great player. The character of Yemi is such a great player that he plays with things he didn't mean. And Chika is now making him make a choice between what he really means and what he doesn't mean. She wants him to live the word he says to her, like him telling her he loves her, and then tries to sabotage the conversation she has with her mother, tries to sabotage the relationship he has with his auntie and with her auntie and her uncle. So she wants him to more or less live that word and be true to it. Growing up, my understanding of love is completely different. A lot of the times, my parents didn't really tell me they loved me, but it was what they did that made me know that it was unconditional, almost uncreated. She couldn't. I knew there was nothing I could do that would make that woman turn away from me or say, no, I don't know her, I disown you, or the fear and idea of the African culture is that, you're going to do something so bad that the people who love you will completely deny you. That was the ultimate fear. But it got to a point in my life that I felt like that just was not in my mother's vocabulary. It just wasn't, it was just impossible, regardless of what I did. And I always found myself looking for that type of love outside, which, unless it's really rare for you to find something like that out there. But that's what I was trying to put out there with Chika and Yemi.
Okay, coming back to Islam, I can say you are right, because my next door neighbor is a Muslim, and I admire the way they worship. It makes me think of when I was in the seminary, because early in the morning I can hear him coming down the steps when I'm taking the dogs for a walk. That's around 5:30 in the morning. He's going to pray. Every day, he's never missed that out. I can say I agree with you that this is really love. Is you have to live it like you are singing. When you are singing, you have to live the words. Just embrace it. You see. Okay. Let's come back to Secret Affair. When you are writing Secret Affair, is it easy for you on your screen? Blank screen, nothing on the screen. How do you make the words flow when you're writing, and the ideas?
Honestly, it's my day-to-day living. A lot of my characters, I wouldn't say the characters themselves are real people, but I would say there's certain situations and instances that brings me or reminds me of a character in the script or character in the movie, and somehow, some way, when I sit down and I remember that situation, it just pours in like a voice. Like, when I'm writing, it's like someone is saying, this character should be doing this. Why is it not doing that? Like, how are you tying this person to what happened before? And even when I'm trying to steer away from the main situation at hand, I'm able to connect back to that moment because of that situation. It's just, I would say I'm very greedy when it comes to scenes. I like to not only see the character in my head, know exactly who's playing that character, but I always think, what is the worst this person can do? What is the worst that could happen? And I think about the worst, and I realize that my worst, when it comes down on paper, it's not that bad. So I'm always having to do better than what I did the last time, because I'm like, it has to be better. It has to sound better. It has to feel better. It has to look better. So that's really how I write.
Now you're writing also for television, I think so. It's going to be Secret Affair is going to be a television series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what you want to do. So, when will the shooting start this year? We're now in 2014, January 2014. Is it going to start sooner or later, or in the middle of the year? So when is it going to start?
Great question. I've been in plays, and I've had an opportunity to do a couple of commercials, and I've seen a lot of production work being done. I was actually in a movie which has already been shot. It's now in post-production. The first ever Nollywood cultural or sort of traditional movie shot in the United States.
Cross-cultural experience.
Right.
Okay.
So this particular movie is talking more about, kingdoms and kings and all that traditional aspects of Nigerian culture. And seeing them make that movie, I was blown away. So I'm very happy to be a part of that. In respect to Secret Affair, I wanted to also, just as that movie brought everybody in Nollywood together, everybody in Nollywood Houston together, I also want this particular TV series to do that as well. So what I'm looking to do at this particular moment, I have spoken to a couple of people who are really movers and shakers in the industry. I don't want to mention their name yet because we haven't really put anything concrete on the table. But I'm looking more like June 2014 would be the first day of production. I'm definitely still working on it. I do have a couple of key people I'd like to also be a part of this project. So I'm working towards that direction, I should say.
Okay, just introduce yourself once more to the listeners. They know you as a blogger, everybody. I think for those who don't know you, you are, this is a name that sounds around the industry, Rebecca Monyei. But just give us your name again. Introduce yourself, what you do, and where you live in the world. Yeah.
Absolutely. My name is Rebecca Monyei. I am a blogger and a film distributor for the Nollywood entertainment industry. And as you can hear me and Cyprian talking, I am also a scriptwriter. And I live in Houston, Texas, which is in the United States of America.
Thank you very much, Rebecca Monyei. And I will remind them that we work together. But this is just a conversation between us. And that's what radio is all about.
I completely forgot we were interviewing. I thought I was talking to a friend, which I am.
No, I'm sorry, you're now talking to a journalist.
I do work very closely with Nollywood Fadio France, and I love it.
Thank you very much, yeah. You've been listening to Nollywood Radio France. Keep on checking on our website www.nollywoodradiofrance.com. Thanks for listening.